Hello and welcome to our weekend news roundup. I'm your host Draconis, and today I'm going to cover a variety of gaming and entertainment related topics. But first, if you like what you hear here, we greatly appreciate a thumbs up. It only takes a split second and it lets us know that you liked what you heard. Also, if you know someone who might be interested in listening to the news updates or our regular podcast, The Rated R Show, that's released on Wednesdays, feel free to share it out as it truly goes a long way to helping us out. And then lastly, make sure if you want to get notified anytime we release new content to give us a follow. And if you're watching on YouTube, you probably already know to plink that bell as well. First up, Death Stranding. Should you or shouldn't you play it? I mean, I've kind of, in the past, I've made my feelings clear, but just in case you're tuning in for the first time and you haven't heard that, I'm not a huge Kojima fan. It's not that I dislike his stuff. I have, played some of the stuff that he's been involved in before, and I've enjoyed that. Some of the Metal Gear Solid and whatnot. It's really been the marketing has really been kind of the thing about this game that has turned me off. The very nebulous, just information that they've put out and how they've tried to keep everything under lock and key to the point where you haven't really understood much of anything about the game. And, for me, if I'm going to get excited, if I'm going to get interested in a game, I want to know more about what the game is supposed to be. I don't need spoilers for the story. I don't even want spoilers for the story. But give me something about this world that I'm going to be playing and, playing in, spending time in. Give me something about what the game mechanics are, because, realistically, up until the point of where the game released, the only thing we knew about the game was that you play as Norman Reedus running around in some dystopian world with a baby in a bottle strapped to your chest, carrying some massive backpack and hiding from shadows. But, no idea why you're hiding from the shadows other than they kill people. But, there was no... It seemed to be missing a lot of information to really get me into it as to, why would I, want to spend a lot of time playing a game like this. Now, if you are a hardcore Kojima fan, if you want to play, as I've seen some folks refer to it, as an Amazon delivery person who basically needs to balance the weight of their packages so that they don't fall over, then this could be a game for you. Now, again, it's kind of a hard sell for me. I would definitely say if this is something you're interested in, you really need to take a look at, video game footage. Go online to Twitch or to YouTube and find some folks playing so you can see what the gameplay is like. What I have read of the gameplay is that it's, more or less that, where you have to kind of balance your inventory weight, and then as you're walking around, it's like shifting, and you've got to basically try and work on your balance in order to not fall over and whatnot. And you're basically just delivering packages as you walk across the world. I don't know, just the things that I've heard just don't really do it for me, and this isn't really being touted as entertainment so much as an experience. So I guess it's a little artsy in that format, but whatever. If you go and look at reviews, you're going to see that reviews are pretty split. There's a lot of folks that have reviewed it pretty highly. There are some folks that have reviewed it pretty low, and a lot of stuff in the middle. So is the game for you? That's not a question I can answer myself, but I can suggest that you go out, check out gameplay, and then make the decision. Of course, like I said, if you are a massive Kojima fan, you probably don't need to see the gameplay. You'll probably just jump right in, and I totally understand that. So have you seen Terminator Dark Fate yet? I have not, but I plan to go see it this week. I definitely want to check that out. If you didn't get enough Terminator this weekend, though, I guess just wait 2 weeks, because there's going to be a single-player FPS out on the 15th on Steam, Xbox One, and PS4. And you're going to get a chance to play basically as a resistance fighter. It's going to be during the time frame of the future when they're fighting the T-800s and stuff like that. So I'll read from Steam the quote about what it says the game is about. It says, experience the events leading up to the decisive final battle of the fate of mankind in the war against the machines. Terminator Resistance is a first-person shooter set during the future war scenario that was only glimpsed at in the iconic films. Having seen what you get to see out of the trailer, the game itself looks, visually, it looks really well. Now, what kind of story are we going to get out of this? Is it going to be a very interesting story, or is it really just going to be a tag on where there's not a whole lot of story or exposition. You're just kind of running around shooting things. I mean, do we really need a lot more in a shooter? I think it depends on what you want out of the shooter. I think the most important part is going to be, the gunplay mechanics, and we'll have to wait till the game is out to see how those are. But besides that, I would say that the game looks good. If you're a huge Terminator fan, this could be, a great opportunity to jump in and really get a chance to play, as a resistance fighter in the future, which is something we haven't really got to see a whole lot of, previously. Now, starting tomorrow, Apex Legends will be introducing Duos mode for a limited time. So previously, you basically would load in as an individual who would get, match made into a team of 4 players. Now you're going to be able to jump in and play just with, you and one other person. So now, if you're into battle royales and you want some more options, especially if you've enjoyed Apex Legends, this could be cool for you. I haven't spent a lot of time playing Apex Legends because I'm just not big into the battle royales. I did play it a little bit, and I gotta say, the movement and the gun mechanics in that game are a lot of fun. I really enjoyed some of the things that they did, like with the call-out mechanics for different types of equipment. More, multiplayer and co-op games like that definitely could use features like that. I think that's great. I'd love to see those things make it into more games. So, it's a fun game. Even as someone who doesn't particularly enjoy battle royale games or PvP games all that much, when I have loaded it up and I've played it, I've had fun with it. And, I probably still will go back and play it some more. Bam and I have been talking a couple times now about maybe loading up some Apex Legends to play. So, with this duos mode, that the two of us can go in and cause some havoc, or, just probably get our asses kicked anyway. Do you live in Australia, and were you one of the customers who asked for a refund, we'll say between the 24th of November last year, 2018, and the 1st of June this year? If you did, you may have been denied that refund request at the time by ZeniMax, but now the ACCC, the Australian Competition and Consumer Association, government organization, is now forcing ZeniMax to open their wallet. They are saying that anyone who did a refund request back then that was denied will now be receiving a refund for Fallout 76. So, I mean, good on them. There has been so much wrong with this game, I swear. If you'd never heard of Bethesda, if you hadn't played video games, I almost wonder if you still would have heard of Bethesda and Fallout 76 for all of the things that have gone wrong with this game. And the surrounding... not even just the game, but also the merchandise that's been available for folks to purchase. It's just, it has been mind-boggling just watching how many different things can go wrong. And I swear it's one of those Murphy's Law things where it's like, can anything else go wrong? No, wait, don't ask that question, because another week goes by, another month goes by, and Fallout 76 is back in the news again. So. Yeah, if you live in Australia, if you asked for a refund and didn't get one, and it was during that time frame, then it's you should possibly already have received the refund, or will be receiving a refund if you haven't already, because I'm seeing reports that some folks have already received it. Good for Australia, and more countries could use a government organization that is actually working for the interest of consumers. All right, in this past week, Steam has released their new look. The update that they're calling, I think it's Now, to their Steam library. I'm kind of curious, you guys, when you see this, as you've been going through Steam, let me know what you think of the new update. It's, for myself, I kind of like the new look. It's, in the case of where you had that page before where you'd have a game selected off your list on the left-hand side, there would have been, different information and updates and things like that to the specific game that you had selected in the list. Now, you're just getting, a bunch of cards that are showing up on the right-hand side with a whole bunch of games that you've played recently and whatnot that are in your library. And I think I actually enjoy that look better. The information is still there if you want to see it. You just click on the individual game, so it's just a single click away. You can still get all the same information as before. And it just, I don't know. The initial look of Steam, when you're just sitting there in your library, is fine. When you click and you go in, it seems like the information pages are a little sharper, at least a couple of ones that I checked out anyway. So I'm kind of digging the new look, but I am curious, for those of you who are using Steam, what are your thoughts? Do you like the new look, or do you think they should have left well enough alone and that the old way was better? now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Just recently we had a second trailer for The Mandalorian, and I has goosebumps, man. This is something I've for so long I've wanted to see. Of course, I was thinking, a Boba Fett movie when that was a possibility. Now that they're doing the series, I think we're going to get even more. And I'm okay with the fact that it's not Boba Fett. Like, I think there's so many other people. Mandalore was an entire planet with an entire culture, of people. And so, yes, there's all kinds of other, characters and stories they could tell. I gotta say, though, dang, it looks really good. The trailer makes it look really great. And even though, they're saying it's not Boba Fett, I still kind of want to see a scene of him escaping the Sarlacc pit. If it does turn out that they're just trying to mislead us and it does end up being Boba Fett, which I know they said it hasn't, but, I can always dream, right? I want to see that scene just because I think that would be amazing. The series, I think, as we mentioned before, takes place about 7 years after Return of the Jedi, and then it's still like another 23 years, before Force Awakens. So that 30-year gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, it's in the early part of that. Now, I can only hope that the Kenobi series they're working on is going to look this good, and I expect it probably will. But, speaking of Kenobi, I probably said this, before on a Comic Shop Talk episode, which we hope to bring back soon. TJ has been traveling and it's just been insane. But I think things are going to start slowing down for him, so I'm going to see about getting him back in the recording studio again. But that aside, when I saw Solo, the one moment in the entire movie that just made the movie for me, that made me want to see more, and it wasn't the whole movie about Solo and all that stuff. It was when, and I feel confident now, spoiler alert and all that, when Darth Maul shows up with the cybernetic legs, it was awesome. That really made me want to see the other standalone movies that they were doing, and I thought Maul would have been the perfect character to tie them all together. Now, how would Darth Maul tie these movies together? Especially if he's not the main character. And the movies were supposed to be about different subjects. It was going to be Han Solo when he was younger. It was going to be, Boba Fett. And then it was going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so how do you tie these movies together? Well, they started it perfectly in the Han Solo movie with Maul in that Red Circle gang or whatever it was. The criminal organization that he was running. In a second movie where I would have had Boba Fett come in, and they can still do this in the Mandalorian series, which I would be super excited for them to do that. He could take contracts from this Red Circle organization and be working for Maul from time to time. So Maul would still be a small character in each one of these movies. He wouldn't be at any point come to the front as like a main character. And then in the Kenobi series, I would have left Maul out into the final episode. In this case, episode, but had it been a movie, the final part of the movie, that would have been the last battle, because there's a really cool thing that they did with Star Wars Rebels, if you missed it, where, Obi-Wan is out on Tatooine, it's when he's older, and he's sitting out there at a campfire, and Maul comes walking out of the dark, and the two of them exchange words, and then, it's filled with tension the entire time, because that there's going to be a fight, and then they go at it, and of course Obi-Wan wins. But not before Maul discerns that Obi-Wan is there for a reason, and that he's there actually protecting someone. So it's really cool. I think that scene, playing at the end of a Kenobi movie or one of the last episodes of the Kenobi series that they're going to do, I just would be an amazing scene. So not likely that anybody at Disney is going to hear this, but on the off chance that it happens, please put that in the series, because that would be amazing to see live action. Get Ray Park back for Darth Maul again. It would be amazing. So, speaking of other trailers that were just released, we have a release date now for The Witcher that will come out on Netflix on the 20th of December. Now, I've always liked Henry Cavill. I thought that, as far as in the current day and age being cast as Superman, he was like near perfect casting. It was amazing that they got this guy, and I think he looks really well. He's able to show a range of emotions in his face that, are really able to communicate things. And while Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman struggled with that character, I think he really started to feel like Superman again at the tail end of the Justice League movie, where, it was after he had been brought back, and it's that battle at the very end, and just the way that he acted, the way that he spoke, he finally started to feel like Superman again. So unfortunately, because at that point it sounded like DC was just going to use him in a cameo role, he set the cape aside. But in this case, he set the cape aside to pick up the sword. And at first, with the first few images that came out, I thought he kind of looked a little too pretty. But in the later stuff that we've seen, and especially in these later trailers, it's looking really good. It's looking a little more darker, grittier, whereas I wouldn't have wanted that for Superman, I do want that for this because I think it's more appropriate for this. And even his voice sounds pretty good. But here's the thing, like, you can tell, like, he's altering his voice, and that's great. It sounds good in the trailers, and I just kind of hope that carries over into the final product, and it doesn't look, feel, sound kind of like a gimmick. But thus far, what I'm seeing from the trailers, I'm still excited. I definitely want to check that out. So that'll be out on the 20th of December. And then lastly for today, a little bit of news about Halo. When it comes back to PC, Halo Reach, which was supposed to release the end of this year sometime, a little skeptical as to whether or not that will actually happen. We may be looking at a 2020 release date at this point. But when it comes, it's going to be bringing with it a battle pass. And from an interview, they were expecting it will take about 75 to 100 hours to unlock all of the items in the first season of the battle pass. One of the other things they did say that future seasons aren't going to take away your ability to unlock the items in the first season. So I guess if you own the first season pass, going into future seasons, you can still unlock those items. Which that's kind of cool, because if you purchase a season pass but you just don't have enough time to play through it, especially if you're playing multiple games or you just have other things going on in your life, it's great that you're not going to be, time gated out of earning that stuff. When it launches, Windows 10 and Steam players should be able to play together, from what they were saying. There will be crossplay that way, but not with Xbox One, at least not at launch. I would expect that to come at a later date. As always, thank you for sticking with me today. I will be back again on Wednesday for our regular show, the Rated R Podcast, where this week we're going to chat about the events and the information that came out from BlizzCon 2019. And until then, this is Draconis. I'm out.